Our next guest, a world champion swimmer, is at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, where she is preparing before heading to Tokyo with Team USA. Joining us now is Sophia Herzog, who is the world champion swimmer and Paralympic medalist. Sophia, great to have you here with us this morning, and thanks so much for taking the time. Early morning hours over there in Colorado Springs, I know, so we appreciate it here. But walk us through what training has been like so far for the 2021 Paralympic Games.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's been crazy. I mean, no one's ever done 5 years training for a Paralympic Games or an Olympic Games. So this past year, especially, has been really chaotic. I trained in the Arkansas River for a good chunk of last summer since the pool shut down during the pandemic, and then training on my bike and cross training in dry land was a huge part of my last summer's training plan. But normally I swim 9 times a week, and then I'm in the weight room 3 times a week. And then I'm expected to recover about 4 hours a day as well. So that includes taking a nap, ice baths, massage, whatever my muscles need to be prepared for my next session.
Even with all of the training, walk us through this excitement that's going through your head at this point in time when you think about what these games mean to you. You've said that these will be your last games before you retire. And so just that excitement that you have going into this particular event.
Yeah, it's really fun that the Olympics go first. You know, you kind of see how it's all going to go, like the pool, the outfits, pictures of the village from what my friends are posting. So the hype got really exciting the past 2 weeks of seeing that. But just the culmination of I've been doing this since I was 12 years old, it all coming to a peak in a couple of weeks, and then retiring, as well as you said, after Tokyo 2020 will be my last Paralympic Games. So this is kind of it, so I'm excited.
And so you mentioned all of the chatting that you're seeing and having with your teammates as well. The swimming competition we know has just wrapped up in the Olympics. What have you been seeing and hearing from your fellow Team USA teammates?
Yeah, it was really good. They had a super successful swimming competition. We had a ton of young breakout swims. I'm a breaststroker, so watching Lydia Jacoby get a gold medal in the 100 breaststroke and Lily King join her on the podium, that was one of my favorites. Huge fan of Katie Ledecky, watching her sweep the 800, and then the first female for the 1500 with Erica Sullivan on the podium as well. And then Bobby Fink doing the 800 and the 1500 gold as well was super incredible to watch.
Were there any surprises or special moments that stuck out to you?
Just watching some of the younger athletes break out, you know, they had great trials, and then being able to recreate that at the Olympics and not letting the pressure negatively affect them. You know, Lydia Jacoby, Erica Sullivan, open water happens tonight, which I'm super excited to watch. Ashley Twitchell is one of my really good friends. So just watching the young athletes have some breakout performances.
Well, all the best to you and your friends in competition, and we're going to be watching as well from afar here. You've been pretty vocal that location doesn't matter to train or to learn. And so why do you find this so important to continue to emphasize?
Yeah, I think I'm coming from a really unique situation going into the Paralympic Games, especially this 5 years. I decided to switch my training to train in a town called Salida, Colorado, where I live, and I train at a public rec center. So my coach and I are busting out, you know, really hard sets in a public rec center where there's senior aerobic classes happening, children's swim lessons, you know, just the general public swimming. And it's been really fun for me just to kind of take that pressure off of, like, I'm just the general public swimming. You know, some people don't know who I am. The pressure's not on there, essentially. And then I was able to go to school with DeVry University after Rio. That was one of my big goals going into Tokyo, was graduating with a bachelor's degree in business communication. And I graduated fall of 2019. and I became one of 215 Team US athletes alumni for Divine University. And they're really incredible because I was able to go to school online. So the past 5 years or 4 years since I graduated, I was able to manipulate my schedule. So on my off season, I would do a ton of classes and get a lot of work done. And then during my competitive season, when I was on the road and racing a lot, I would just do 1 or 2 easy classes. So them working with me like that was super incredible, and I'm so grateful for them.
Wow, world champion swimmer, by the people, for the people, among the people. I love that story. You know, as you were mentioning your education and the degree that you were able to attain even while preparing for the 2021 Paralympic Games, what does life after swimming look like? We know it'll always be a part of your life in some form or another, but when you think about the communications degree, business communications degree that you've been able to attain now too, how do you start to think about where you put that to work even after?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to take some time off once I retire after Tokyo and take the rest of the year off and really figure out what I want to do with it, whether I want to go back for a master's or if I do find a job I really love. I've had a really crazy life. I've been doing this since I was 10 years old. I graduated high school a year early at 17 and then moved 3 days after into the Olympic and Paralympic Training Center because we were training for a championship coming up really soon. So I haven't had a ton of time of figuring out really what I like to do and what my joys and passions are outside of swimming, honestly. So I'm going to take the next couple months once I retire from swimming to figure out what that is and then go from there.
Well, in whatever you decide to set your mind to, Sophia, we are rooting you on and nothing but continued success to you. And we're going to be watching from afar here once again in the Paralympics once they begin. Sophia Herzog, who is the world champion swimmer and Paralympic medalist, joining us today. Thanks so much, Sophia. We appreciate the time.